We had the opportunity to meet with NUPD officers to learn all about who they are and what it's like to be on the force.
My name is Frank Wolverton. I'm a sergeant here. I've been here a year and a half.
I'm Anika Crutchfield. I'm a patrol officer with NUPD. Right now I am in a TAD position, which is a temporary assignment position with the Crime Prevention and Community Engagement Unit.
My name's Officer Mulvey, Brian Mulvey from Walpole, Mass. I live in West Roxbury. I've been here about a year and a half.
The officers were kind enough to tell us all about what their job entails and to show us around the office. So right now I'm in the interview room where NUPD does all of their general interviews. NUPD respects the rights of all community, staff, and student members, and so they make sure to have the rights written on the wall and read to the interviewee before the interview so that everyone is on the same page. Interviews in here are also always recorded. Can you walk me through your daily routine, kind of start to finish?
Yeah, my daily routine is I come in here, I come in an hour before the shift starts, and I put together the roster for the evening. I decide who's going to have what sector, and I generally try to keep officers who are more familiar with certain sectors that do it, you know, they've been here for 20 years and they may be more familiar with the East Fence. I try to keep integrity as far as sector integrity, and I pair up officers who are rapid response officers. I try to put together a roster that's, that makes the evening, pull an evening together. So
I work 1600 to midnight, so it's kind of nice. I have the day to myself, take my time getting in, no traffic. Roll call, you know, 3:45 every day, and sit down, kind of get your assignment. I usually ride with one other, Officer Coughlin is usually who I ride with.
Right now I'm standing in the roll call room, where officers come a little bit before their shift to discuss what happened in the 16 hours previous. They talk about what's going on campus, and they prepare for their shift. There's also room for an evidence board so that they can take pictures of whatever they need to talk about in court, and there's even computers for the officers to write up their reports after something happens. This is the community wall that officers pass by every morning to showcase some of the great things that are happening in the Northeastern community.
Something as simple as a stolen bike, you know, meeting with a student, taking a report. We kind of go the extra mile here at Northeastern because typical, you know, agency outside of a Northeastern or university setting, you know, they may take a stolen bike report and that's that. But we go as far as registering your bikes, that we go the extra mile, that if you have your bike registered here, you know, we can actually track the bike and get it back to you.
Another thing that we offer to a lot of the staff members and student groups is called Situational Awareness Training 101, where we go through basic ways that they can keep themselves safe, where they can be aware of the situation around them and how we go through different de-escalation techniques. So if you were in a situation where somebody was being hostile, how do you calm that situation down? When's the right time to call NUPD, and the different resources you can use to call NUPD. We share the Safe Zone app with students and staff members too, and we encourage them to join it, because usually with the Safe Zone app, if there's ever an emergency, you click one button and you're contacting NUPD. We know your location and we can get to you fast.
Every police officer, believe it or not, is trained the same. It doesn't matter what department you're on. We all go through the same training. The only thing that changes really is jurisdiction.
NUPD prides itself on educating and training its officers. This is a college, but they want the officers to be just as educated in what our job is and what we do.
It was kind of unique starting here as a CSO because I got to learn the campus prior to going to the police academy. So once I was in the academy, I kind of was able to take the training I had there and kind of relate it to what Northeastern and was all about. Everything from emergency vehicle operation course, which is, you know, we went up to an Air Force base and kind of were able to use the vehicle and learn, you know, pursuit, things like that. Went to the range for a week, shot firearms, advanced patrol procedures, kind of putting you in real life scenarios that we'll have law enforcement officers that have experience. They'll come to the academy, they'll run some scenarios through, and you go through it like you would real world. So it was actually very interesting training.
We go through 26 weeks. You have driving, firearms, academics, physical fitness, the laws, anything that any other police officer would go through, that NUPD does the same exact thing.
You can see this is a supervisor's car. It's well marked, so if we are at the scene and someone has a question, they know I'm the supervisor. As you can see, this is our mobile data terminal here. And if we were to pull up in a vehicle and I wanted to run a registration, I would run the registration, would come up whether the vehicle is stolen or not, so that if I was to actually get out and have an encounter, I would know ahead of time if this vehicle was stolen or not. So I would know ahead of time what I was dealing with. So it's good to have. It also runs warrant checks. If I was to have someone, I was interviewing someone and I had probable cause to run a warrant on them, I could go right on here, I could go what they call the sieges, and I could put their name in, it would pump in, and would come up whether they have a warrant for their arrest or not. And all the way back, you can see that's a fire extinguisher. That's only for small, if it's a car fire, we can knock down a car fire. That's a small fire. We have a first aid kit back there. We have Narcan in case we come on a person who's having an overdose. We can give them a shot of Narcan and bring it back.
All right, so this is a typical patrol officer's cruiser. It's a little bit different from the supervisors, as you can tell in back. We have a cage. If we were to transport a prisoner, and to do so safely, you need a cage separating you between you and the prisoner. You can see nice and cozy. Seat belts, plastic seats, easy to clean. If we're going to be responding to some sort of medical emergency, whatever it is, and we need to go lights and sirens, the knob here turns on all the blues. Let's say, you know, we're patrolling like a dark alley, something of that sort. We have lights on the top that are white lights, forward, side, alley lights, PA. If we were to have a message that we need to get out to someone in front of us, someone in a building, vehicle, to, you know, maybe it's exit order, something like that, we can go over the loudspeaker and give them commands that way. Also, our radio inside communicates and scans both Boston and surrounding agencies, state, transit. So we have Ruggles Station, which is close, Northeastern on the Green Line. So if we hear an emergency go out in that location and we happen to be around the corner, we're aware of what's going on. Sirens, this is one of the older models, but our newer model cruisers have what's called a rumbler, and not only do you hear it from a distance, you can almost feel it. It's a lower frequency speaker.
Is there one thing that stuck out as the most exciting thing to ever happen while you're on the job?
A call went out for a robbery in progress at the CVS in Boylston, and so the last known flight direction of the suspects was through the fence. One of the suspects actually assaulted a Mass State Police trooper, and later, you know, got away. So myself and two fellow officers patrolled the area, kind of Museum Road, and we found a large sum of discarded cash. So we kind of thought it was a little bit suspicious. Initially, we kind of taped off the scene, and, you know, we called it. We didn't have anyone in custody or anything like that. But I thought it was, you know, it looked like a last-ditch effort of the cash. So I thought, you know, if whoever it was must be close. And I saw a pair of sneakers in one of the bushes, and sure enough, it was, you know, one of the suspects, and we were able to apprehend him. You know, the canine was there, so it was kind of interesting how well all the agencies in Boston kind of come together in a time of need.
Well, there's a lot of exciting things that happened to me while here at NUPD, but for me the most exciting thing is they offered a female tactical survival class that I took, and that was extremely excited. We went through different things like defensive tactics, survival training, how to survive and defend yourself against gun attacks, and also how to aid and care for other officers in an officer down situation using tourniquets and basic life support techniques. So anytime there's any additional training that's going to make me better at my job, it's exciting to me, and that was an extremely exciting course.
I was actually involved in the training aspect at the transit. I was actually the senior drill instructor. So I had the opportunity to train officers, and I trained officers through the entire state. My exciting day was always the day that the students graduated, and it was always good to see them come across the stage, get a badge pinned on them, and the pride they took in having that badge, and it was the honor it was to, you know, to put the badge on them. And I had 24 classes, and I can tell you every one of them was equally exciting. It was like having a child. I don't like any child any more than the next one. They were all 24, all, you know, meant a lot to me. So that was always exciting having that day.